Hi-ho, what do you know? The Big Daddy G Show, the Big Daddy G Show, the Big Daddy G Show.
Here's your daddy.
Hats off to you, lady. Good job. We'll see you in the hereafter. Viva Austin, Texas!
The Big Daddy G Show. Big Daddy G Show. It's the Big Daddy G Show. Now type it in, take it in. Where do I begin? He's really funny and he's not really thin. It's the Big Daddy G Show. Big Daddy, it's the Big Daddy G Show.
Dude, you gotta try the queso with the taco meat, man. It's delicious.
Really? That's a book on how to make Mexican martinis. I've got the recipe right here. Y'all try that. Share it.
The Big Daddy G Show, the Big Daddy G Show, the Big Daddy G Show.
Daddy's home. Here's your daddy.
We're on. Hey kids, welcome to the Big Daddy G Show. I'm the Big Daddy G. Who knew? Today we have a really interesting show. If you ever want to be a producer, or a writer, or a director, or be involved in show business, today is your show. And so that's awesome, Grant. So anyway, a couple of things that I wanted to talk to you guys about today before we bring in our guests. The first thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is something really, really important. Yesterday I was out in Bastrop. They have cows out in Bastrop, and it just rained there a few days ago. And those of you who know what I'm talking about, you know why I was out in Bastrop. So, chasing cow patties, if you know what I mean. So anyway, having a great time, and I ran into a man by the name of James. And James, really, really interesting guy. And I started talking to him, and he said that he just opened up, and I think that's the reason I met him, was because he told me something really, really interesting. About 400 or 500 years ago, I went to go see a doctor because they said that I had high blood pressure. And so they gave me all this medicine. Oh, it was like 9 different pills. And of course I didn't take any. But I have my own recipe for stuff like that. And I've shared it with you guys before, and I'll share it with you again. But anyway, James was telling me that they had put him on this one high blood pressure medication. And basically what it was doing, it was killing him. The way pharmaceutical companies work is they have to make, like we supply them with money, and they do all the research and they come up with this medicine. After they have made $10 billion, then they can put it out as a generic brand. They can put a generic brand that's cheaper after they've made $10 billion. Well, one of the things that they don't tell you is a lot of that medication is making people sick. And you've heard the little, may cause this and may cause that and may cause your eyes to fall out, all this other stuff. So James was telling me about how he actually died and was dead for a little bit, and then for some reason he came back. And he said it was because of the high blood pressure medication that he was taking. So I said to him, I said, are you serious? And now I'm not telling you to stop taking your medication. That's not what I'm telling you to do. I'm telling you need to look up the symptoms that the medication can cause, or the side effects, that the medication can cause. It's really, really important that you look and you read the real tiny, tiny print, because you've got to remember that they made $10 billion, and if they have to settle out of court with somebody who died or had problems for $5 million, who cares, So, so please, if you've had your gallbladder removed, if you've had colon cancer, if you've had intestinal reduction surgery, a lot of those things are side effects of some of the high blood pressure medication. Now I have a thing called a shot to the heart, and I think it's in one of our episodes that I show you how to make that. And you take it every day. You take like a half a shot glass every day, and it'll lower your blood pressure. And it's natural. It's all natural. So I've been telling Tyrone that I wanted to make a little segment just for that. Okay, so I have like a minute and 15 seconds. And so last Tuesday was Carol Burnett's birthday, and I forgot that it was Carol Burnett's birthday. I'm not sure if I was here or not. And so I wanted to do, Tyrone, I'm going to blow this microphone because you know what I'm going to do. So this is in honor of Carol Burnett, who is a comedian, and I watched almost all of her episodes of her show. So here we go. All right, so those of you who know who Carol Burnett is, you'll get that. The other thing I want to do is Willie Nelson's birthday, I believe, is today. So, might have been yesterday, but Willie's high all the time. So, here's a little, you hear that? Can you hear that, Tyrone? Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, my name's Willie. Happy birthday to me. We'll be right back.
Take a sip. the Big Daddy G Show. Big Daddy G Show. It's the Big Daddy G Show. Now type it in, take it in. Where do I begin? He's really funny and he's not really thin. It's the Big Daddy G Show. Big Daddy, it's the Big Daddy G Show.
Who's pushing me around? Oh, hey kids, we're back. Welcome to the show. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of interviews, so pay attention. If you've ever wanted to be a writer, if you ever wanted to be, or to know what goes through a writer's head, you're about to find out. So help me welcome Allison McCord. Did I say it right? I hope I said it right. How you doing? No worries, please have a seat. Okay, so tell me a little bit about Allison. First of all, like, where are you from?
I'm from New Jersey.
Yeah, from Jersey. They don't?
No.
Well, in my brain they do, but okay. All right, so what brought you to Austin?
Grad school.
Grad
in
school,
film.
really?
Yeah.
And you went to UT, or where'd you
I
go?
did, yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice,
I
nice.
got my master's and my doctorate to teach film history.
Okay. We're going to show a really fast clip right now to kind of introduce you a little bit.
Okay.
So, Tyrone, can we roll that clip now?
I see parallels with Slacker of people sort of going in and out of scenes. You get the sense that people just sort of move in and out of time almost. I mean, if you looked at these movies and thought, I'm going to move to Austin because I can just drift around, I mean, in a way that's so not true, but you definitely get that sense, maybe of a freedom that you can move among spaces, you know, and there's this ease with that kind of timelessness that you feel. If it's not real, you can at least feel it at different times.
Those were the days, you know, you had no ancillary markets, you know, either went into the theater, it disappeared, and of course, that's not the kind of film in those times that was going to get a theatrical release.
Eggshells taught me to think about, in order to stay in features, I had to find a subject that would have an audience.
You know, to do something with no stars, no budget, completely unknown people, the only possibilities were horror or science fiction. So we went horror.
Kirk? With Chainsaw, you have one of the most important, influential modern horror films. I've seen the film with people who were art film nuts and did not like the genre and would walk out and go, oh my God.
Have you ever seen Eggshells?
I probably
You may not remember.
have. I've seen thousands upon thousands and thousands of movies. I was that kid that went to the theater to get away from my brothers. I would go to the theater on Saturdays and sometimes Sundays also, and just stay there all day and watch movies all day long. So, let me ask you a question. So you are a writer.
I am.
Okay. And can you tell the kids, how did you get started in writing?
I think, you know, when you're studying to become a professor, which I was, you know, writing goes along with that. And About the same time I started my PhD, I actually started reviewing movies for the Austin Chronicle.
Nice.
And so I did that while I was, getting my degree, and that was sort of my first. I had some other published things, but they were in small academic journals, so that
Okay.
was kind of my first more mainstream
Okay.
publications, and it just kind of kept going from there. When you're a film reviewer, you often have to write features, and since we're in Austin, we have South by Southwest and the Austin
Right.
Film Festival, so you have people coming through, and it kind of grew
Right.
from there, and I started writing magazine pieces, and it was while I was working on for the Statesman as a reviewer that I got the idea for my first book.
Nice. Well,
yeah.
I just happen to have a copy right here. Ta-da! Can we do it close up? So tell me, what, there's people out there that always say, oh, I should write a book, What did it take for you to just go, did you just sit down at a typewriter or tell me
I
what?
actually used a computer.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, you probably don't know what a typewriter is. It's
No,
this
I
thing
have
that,
one.
yeah.
No, I think it was, I had written a dissertation for
Mm-hmm.
you have to do that when you're getting a PhD, and what I would kind of do, sort of like my treat, was like I'd work on something that was less academic,
Okay.
and it was actually going to be a biography of a Hollywood film editor, and that didn't really take off. And then there were three things that happened kind of all around the same time. Slacker's 10th anniversary was celebrated in Austin. Spy Kids came out and
Yeah.
crossed that marker that made it a blockbuster, which
Right.
was a huge deal since it was, a homegrown movie.
Right, right.
And the Austin Film Society had its first Texas Film Hall of Fame Awards.
Nice.
And so it just really seemed like the film community was going in a different direction, and I didn't know where that was, but it just made me think that maybe it was time to look back
Yeah.
and see what had happened to kind of create this incubator for all of this to happen.
Nice. And did you, along the way, and there's a reason why I'm asking this, because I know that people like myself and people out there, did you ever have somebody say, what are you talking, you gonna write a book? What are you kidding
Oh,
me?
yes.
Okay.
Yes,
So
all
how
the
do you
time.
handle that? How do you handle people telling you you can't do it, or what are you, crazy?
You just, you have people that you can, vent to and cry to, and you just kind of have to keep, chipping away at it. And there were some, I interviewed more than 200 people for this book.
Wow.
And they're just, people can be so terrific and just really encourage you. Kim Henkel, who you showed in that clip, he was great. He just, I was saying, well, gosh, there's so much to do, and I have to turn in at this time. And he was so funny because he's like, just don't.
Yeah.
Just keep working on it. I was
Right.
like, gosh, that makes so much sense,
Right.
and there's people, I think, along the way that will help you.
Nice.
And so you got to kind of power yourself, but you also have to find those people who can cheer you on.
Okay. So basically, what I do is I just stay away from those people that tell me I can't do it. People say, "Oh, you can't do it. What, you're crazy." Yeah, you can. So, ta-da,
I mean, that is good advice.
Yeah.
To stay in like a positive place with people who are going to support you.
Exactly.
But I think it's also important to learn how to deal with people who may not cheer you on, and just to kind of try to stay true to what you're doing.
Right.
I mean, if you're working on something you're passionate about, you're just going to keep going like a crazy person on some level. I
Right,
think.
right. Believe me, we know. We know here.
Crazy here.
Yeah, we know crazy. What is a ghostwriter? Somebody wrote and asked, wanted me to ask you what a ghostwriter is.
It can be a bunch of different things. I mean, that's also what I do. I write my own books, but then I work with people to help them write their books.
Nice.
And I've mostly collaborated with people. I haven't sort of written something completely for someone,
Okay.
but that can be a version of ghostwriting.
Right. And when you're a ghostwriter, you don't get credit for it, do you? Or can
it just
you?
depends on how you set up the arrangement.
Okay.
You can be thanked in the acknowledgments. You can be get a co-author credit on the cover.
Right.
You can just not even be mentioned ever. It really depends on the situation and the person you're working with.
What about this book here, the Rewrite Batman, but Rewrite
Rewrite Man.
Man.
Yeah. That
We'll
is a
put
book.
that.
It's a biography of a Hollywood screenwriter and script doctor named Warren Scarron, who actually he was working here in Austin. His big credits are Top Gun, Batman, Beetlejuice, and Beverly Hills Cop 2. Watch your drink.
Oh, sorry,
And,
it's empty now. Mike Blizzard's in the studio. That flask is empty.
That's right. That's right. And I got the idea for that book while working on Chainsaws because Warren Scarron was the behind-the-scenes, producer's rep and helped Toby Hooper and Kim Henkel get a distributor for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Nice, nice. Well, I sure do thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I guess, are we going to go to a commercial turn? What do we? Okay, so we are going to go show you. We're going to show you another clip, and then we're going to bring our next guest in. So, hang tight. This is about Leslie.
Hey, this is Dog Ate My Bag in Austin, Texas, and I'm just here to help keep Austin weird. Here we go. Too many bumper stickers on my car. I'm smoking all the way to the local bar. I pierced my face, got a purple beard. Just doing my part to help keep Austin weird. Leslie wears a skirt with lace. Ran for mayor, came in second place. Thank God he didn't win. Nobody feared. Just doing his part to keep Austin weird. You can be yourself. Be unique. You can run stark naked in the nearest creek. Well, I tried it once, and the whole crowd cheered. Just doing my part to keep Austin weird. It's a hip and cool, very liberal city. Got a lot of rock and roll. You can hum a little ditty when I got up on stage. Well, the whole room cleared. Just doing my part to keep Austin weird.
Whoever that was singing, they did a great job. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to show you another clip real quick, and then we're going to bring in Laura Morgan. So watch this clip, and we'll be right back.
At that point, there's empty rooms where they were shooting on 6th Street because nothing was happening there.
Hey, what's in here?
Record vault.
Oh, where you keep the golden oldies and maybe the new music.
When I decided I would direct Chainsaw 2, I had to come back here with it. It was essential.
He specifically called me up and he said, well, you couldn't shoot the first one. I want you to shoot the second one. Are you available? And I said, yes. And he said, and I want to make it with as many Austin people as I possibly can.
Night, LJ.
Good night. God damn it.
Chainsaw 2 was the craziest movie I've ever worked on.
Music is my life.
There was an enormous amount of drug use on the set.
What the shit?
It was just nuts.
The daily newspaper, the Austin American-Statesman, had just moved its old facility, a big, hulking building downtown, was sitting there empty.
We built this huge set in their press room.
All the presses were gone, and it was just this giant space. It was probably 125 feet wide, 175 feet long, and probably 90 feet high or something. It was just enormous. But all the utilities have been cut off this building. There's no electricity. It was in the middle of summer. There was no air conditioning. There was no water. And Toby and a bunch of people got sick.
I think it was Legionnaire's disease. Actually, someone was diagnosed with Legionnaire's disease.
It's the devil's playground.
I had walking pneumonia. The doctor came to set and diagnosed me, so it was nuts.
One of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. 9.5 weeks hell.
Wow. All right, Allison, thank you so much. We're going to bring in Laura next. Laura Morgan. Kids, help me welcome Laura Morgan. How you doing, Laura? How you doing?
Thank you.
Please have a seat.
Did I do?
Well-
did I-
Oh,
the uniform
very
right?
nice, very nice. I actually have a shirt just like that. Yeah, I've got a lot of sugar mamas that send me Hawaiian shirts from all over the place. Yeah, I really do. There's actually 5, I think, at the post office. Crystal down at the post office called me and said, "Dude, when are you gonna come pick up these shirts?" You know, and I just like I didn't know I had any. But
The place
anyway.
I got this from is apparently the same place they made Tom Selleck's Magnum PI Hawaiian
Oh,
shirts.
nice, nice, nice.
Legit. Yeah.
You know, he had to drive that car with the top off because he was so tall. It wasn't because
wasn't
it
to be
looked cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just because he was so tall.
I did not know that.
Well, me and Laura and Mike were off the property enjoying some beverages earlier. So we're feeling no pain, shall we say? Yeah. Woo! Yeah, thank you, Jesus. But all right, so tell me a little bit about Laura. Where are you from?
I'm not good at answering that question.
Okay.
Southern California, Los Angeles, and Santa Barbara areas.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when did you come to Austin?
I came to Austin 9 years ago this last month.
And why
Yeah.
why Austin? Of all the places in the world, why did you choose Austin?
I went to college in Abilene, Texas.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Very cool. And
I've
all of my
partied there, yeah.
Yeah?
I was in jail there, actually. Yeah, they put me. I still have the scars from the handcuffs. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So all of my friends that I graduated with didn't want to stay in Abilene, but they wanted to stay somewhere close, and so all of them migrated down to Austin. And
Nice.
so I did.
Nice.
I
Well,
followed
that's the
suit.
place to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so tell me about documentaries. How did you get involved in documentaries? How did you get involved in this particular film?
I got involved in documentary.
Oh,
singular,
documentary. Okay.
With Mike because I was an intern at the Austin Film Society, and weirdly happened to email Mike about some thing the same week that a mutual person that I went to college with and happens to be his nephew-in-law
Wow.
said, "Hey, you're making this documentary or starting to make this documentary. I know Laura Morgan. She'd be like probably good at working on this, whatever." So he connected us, and so that's why I've gotten into documentaries. So basically, Mike watched my AFS intern video, which you have to make if you're an AFS intern. And my AFS intern video was a giant Monty Python ripoff of the How Not to Be Seen sketch.
Yeah.
And Mike is also a Monty Python fan.
Nice.
And so before I didn't interview or anything. He
Yeah.
called me up, having watched it, and said,
Right.
like, would you be interested in working on this? And so I absolutely said yes. And then basically he and I split up the films that are in the documentary between the two of us to kind of map out and discuss what the themes were that came up in them. And so that's how I started. I started as Mike's assistant
Nice.
and then became the associate producer along the way.
Wow. Nice. Well, and that's how you do it. You get your foot in the door. And AFS is an awesome organization, man. They put together all this, you know, and if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have all this. So, and we wouldn't have you guys be able to watch all this. So, oh, thank you, Graham. Graham's getting me some labs, so I don't have to, I have a lab. I have to carry a thing in my pocket and a cord. I'm connected to the floor, and so they ordered new labs. Thank you, Graham and Dougie. Thank you so much. This sip's for you.
Love you, Graham.
So you know Graham?
I do know Graham.
Yeah.
He was an intern when I worked at the Austin Film Society.
Oh, is he over there?
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
there you
there
are.
before.
Oh, I didn't even see you there. Yeah. Well, Graham's a great friend, and he helps us a lot all the time. So, what is your next project that you're going to work on? Do you know?
Mike and I are always thinking of things that are next. I don't know how much I can talk about. And then my best friend David, who is the one who convinced me to move here, and I are also thinking about another documentary about a filmmaker. I'm sorry, that's not very good, but I can't really.
No, I understand.
too
No, I
much.
understand. And that's part of the business is you can't give away, you know, the story, because if you do, then people will go, oh, wait a minute, what, you know, oh, that film's about this or that film's about that. So yeah, it's
And
kind of like
everything, every one of these is in pre-production, pretty
Pre-production,
much.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's too early on. I don't want to,
yeah.
get too ahead of myself.
Knock on wood. Well, any advice that you think would the kids, you know, that are interested in doing documentaries, because documentaries are different from movies, you know, because you're actually going after something. In a movie, you're just, here it is, you know, but documentaries, you kind of, you know, zero in on something.
Yeah, documentaries are, I feel like, harder and easier
Mhm.
than narratives because you don't have to have as much of a budget, maybe.
Right.
You don't have to have, like, okay, we have 3 weeks off, and this is this time we've set apart to, like, film this thing.
Right.
We've worked on Also Starring Austin for 6 years.
Yeah.
We filmed it over 3 years, I want to say. And so in some ways that's really great because you don't have to have a high budget. You've got lots of time. You can just kind of pick up little bits here and there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to be telling a story in the end.
Right.
And there's a lot of editing and there's a lot of patience that goes into documentary filmmaking.
Exactly. There's a lot of editing.
Yeah, a lot of edit, especially on ours, which features 150-ish, maybe more films in it.
Wow.
So because of that, our editor, Laura Caldwell, who is playing a show right now with her amazing band, Sun June,
Nice.
she made the film what it is. Like a lot,
Nice.
you know, we have a lot to do with it, but she is so integral in it.
Nice.
But yeah, so find a good editor.
Exactly.
Find good people who are patient
Right.
and want to work, like care enough about the project
Exactly.
to see it through.
Exactly. That's true. So, and you see, you can do it too, you know. You just got to get away from the people that tell you can't do it. You know, just walk away. That's all you got to do is just walk away. And then they'll learn eventually, oh, I better not talk about that she can't do it or he can't do it, so that, you know, so that can prove to you that you can do it. It can be done. Okay, so next we're going to do, we're going to be back in 1 minute, so just hang tight. Time to take a puff, a rip, or a sip. You can't be doing that while I'm drinking. Oh, hey kids. Welcome to the Big Daddy G Show. We're on Tuesdays at 10 p.m. on
Channel 16. Or you can stream it.
on thebigdaddyg.com.
Adios.
Adios.
Adios. It's what we do.
Good enough.
Good enough.
90%. Still an A.
I-ho, what do you know? The Big Daddy G Show. The Big Daddy G Show.
All right. That was Cole Allen, by the way. Cole is now, he's been on our show twice, and he's been, or now he's doing a show with Jim Carrey, so called Kidding. So make sure you check that out. He's so incredible. All right. So we're going to show you a trailer of a film that it's called Also Starring Austin, and it was made by Mike Blizzard. And I want you guys to check the trailer out. And then we're going to, well, Laura helped on this film too. And we're going to show you the clip or the trailer, and then we're going to have you meet Mike. So we'll be right back.
I got a phone call one day saying, I'm coming to town, I'd love to hang out with you. And it was Jonathan, would you like to see some Austin films? He said, sure.
It had this magnetic effect for a lot of young filmmakers, that realization that you can make a film locally with not a lot of money.
That was the trajectory. You made something local because you wanted to be in Hollywood.
Rick wanted to just keep making his movies here, and I wanted to keep making my movies here, no matter what they were.
We had the locations all within an easy drive. Come back into town at night and party and have a good meal, and go back out and shoot the next day.
It's not LA, New York, because it's not set there. I remember, like, I want to be in Austin.
We write what we live, and we live what we write. Is that wrong?
It was weird growing up here and then trying to shoot a movie here because all of my friends were extras and they were all watching.
And I think that's what I love about Austin, is just the people and the energy. And people work to live here, they don't live here to work.
I think they're each tremendously enjoyable. You can see the collective passion for cinema just oozing out of these films.
It's fun to just shoot in your backyard.
And Rebecca, his granddaughters, they watch the show. All right. We are back. We're back. Okay, so now I want to introduce you to Mr. Mike Blizzard. So come on in, Mike. How you doing, bud?
Well,
Look at how comfortable you look.
got my Big Daddy G type shirt on.
Nice. I think Tyrone's in the control room dancing or something.
Yeah.
So, so what did you think of the Mexican martinis, first of all?
It's awesome.
Nice.
Great
nice.
way to start the show.
Nice.
You know?
Exactly. Well, it takes the edge off, you know? Yeah. And he looks like he's had the edge taken off a few times. Over and over and over again. So look, it's empty, look. So look, Mike's here. That's how I know Mike's here. But no. There's actually there's another thermos. I'm picking out a thermos for you. There's another thermos full of medicine that we can partake with after the show. I know Sabby was all excited about it. So, but I do want to say one thing. I know I brought you in, but I want to say thank you to Lucas, who's a new crew member tonight, starting with us tonight. So thank you, Lucas. I don't know what Lucas' last name. What's your last name? Wanted? Lucas Wanted by the APD or something like that. Okay, well, thank you very much, Lucas. So, all right, Mr. Mike, tell us where you're from.
First, I want to say that
Okay.
Trevor Garza cut that awesome trailer.
Oh, nice.
And Trevor,
Trevor?
we met because he was an intern
Okay.
at AFS.
Nice.
Which so many people came to this film first being interns
Yeah.
at AFS. So I just wanted to give him credit before I forgot. But then your question was, I was born in Philadelphia.
Nice.
But we moved to Texas when I was very young. We moved to Plano, Texas.
Yeah, I know
outside
Plano.
of Dallas. And Plano at that time is now a big place, but at that time was very small. Our yard backed up to a cow pasture.
Nice.
We carved a baseball diamond. in
Yeah.
the cow
Well, now you know what I'm
pasture.
talking about when I was out hunting cow patties, right? Do you know what I'm talking
Exactly. Oh, I
Like,
totally know what you're
the
talking
mushrooms are for cooking, Ma. Okay, they're for cooking. So.
And then we moved down. Okay.
I think he's from Plano. Aren't you from Plano, Grant?
Really?
Yeah, Grant's from Plano. There, you see. You're practically related.
Exactly.
So, all right. So you. So after
And
Plano.
we moved to Clear Lake,
Okay,
which is
nice.
near NASA
Yeah.
in Houston.
Yeah.
And that's where I went to like junior high and high school. And then I came to Austin to go to the university,
Mhm.
and I just stayed.
Nice.
It became my adopted hometown.
Okay. And what did you study at UT?
I studied psychology.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I
Wow.
actually went into the PhD program
Yeah.
for experimental psychology, and then left after
Right.
2 years. Yeah.
Well,
I
do
took
you-
a leave of absence, and they told me, No one ever comes back when they do this.
Yeah.
You're allowed to, though,
Right.
2 years. And of course, I didn't either.
Mm.
I got involved in local politics and
Mhm.
environmental politics in Austin.
Yeah.
But I always wanted to come back to film. I took RTF classes at UT.
Nice.
I thought about becoming an RTF major,
Mhm.
and I always had these ideas for films in my head.
Yeah.
And so later, after doing political stuff for a while, I thought, if I don't do this now, I'll regret it.
Yep.
Exactly.
Nice. Well, this is the guy that you want to meet in Austin. I'm sure you need interns. I'm sure, this is one of the guys that you need to meet. And you can't do it by living in some little town, you gotta get to Austin. But don't come with no money. You gotta show up with some cash, because Austin's expensive, but so is every place else just about.
It's like when I was
Yeah.
young, people would go to Manhattan,
Mhm.
and you'd oh, I'm living in someone's closet.
Yeah.
And we're at 5 people in an apartment. That's
Yeah.
how people are living in Austin
Exactly.
today. It's very different than when I, was here.
Yeah.
When I was going to college and stuff, it was a very cheap place to live, and
Yeah.
that was part of its appeal. But there's still an essence of Austin
Mhm.
that I think hasn't really changed.
Yeah.
Even while a lot of things about it have changed,
Yeah.
there's still some spark or some cultural thing that draws people.
Right.
Draws creative people for sure.
Yep. Well, they say that Austin's built on a bed of crystals or something like that, and and so that's makes it I don't know, some kind of energy. It gives off good energy. So if you're not a good person, don't come to Austin, okay? Because we've got some here already we're trying to get rid of. So don't come to Austin if you're not good. If you're not a good person. Anyway, I was gonna, traffic is terrible here, dude.
Yeah,
Traffic.
don't
I don't.
comment.
Yeah, I don't care about toll roads and all that stuff. I'm telling you, traffic is terrible in Austin. So learn to walk. So tell me a little bit about how you got started in doing this film. I mean, what made you go? I want to do this.
I was I had just joined the board of the Austin Film Society,
Mhm.
and I went to a screening of Roadie, which is featured in the film, and it stars Meatloaf.
Mm-hmm.
And that year, one of the honorees at the Texas Film Awards was Meatloaf. And so
Nice.
my joke is it was a slow year.
Mhm.
But nothing against Meatloaf. I mean, he
Yeah.
should probably be in there just for, But anyway, he's in this movie Roadie.
Yeah.
And so there's all these great. Roadie, as Lewis Black says in the movie, is a failure. But Roadie is also interesting.
Mhm.
And one of the things it documents is this movement of Austin at that time, from sort of the cosmic cowboy movement to punks.
Yeah.
And so both of that is portrayed in the film. But then there's also, in the middle of the night, there's a great chase scene throughout downtown Austin. And they probably didn't even have to get permits for this, because no one was
Well, you don't get permits
driving
unless you
around
get caught,
downtown
yeah.
Austin at that time, So they, and I'm watching it with this audience of people, today, and you could just feel the audience wanting to press pause.
Yeah.
To see what
Mhm.
was there at the time.
Yeah.
And I walked out of that screening and I thought, wow, there's been all these movies made in Austin.
Yeah.
What if you strung together scenes
Mhm.
from these films to just show the dramatic change, for instance, in downtown?
Yeah.
It was very much at
crazy,
the beginning the structural change of Austin,
Mhm.
architectural change.
Right.
And so that was the initial idea. And started talking to people. Charlie Nafis turned me on to Los Angeles Plays Itself, which is a movie that was made about movies filmed in Los Angeles and how the image of Los Angeles had been distorted over time, and it had a much more cultural basis. And then once Laura and I started watching these movies, we realized there was something much deeper going on than just that the city was bigger,
Mhm.
that it had changed, dramatically in its height or
Yeah.
its density over time. There's certain constants in these movies of Austin culture.
Mhm.
And so started to realize there was something more rich there
Mhm.
than just like an experimental film that showed, you know, these structural changes in the city.
Right, right. So, how did you make it? I mean, did you just go, oh, let me just write a check right here for, you know, or did you get help from anybody?
Yeah, I mean, part of it was self-funded,
Mhm.
and I was lucky enough to have some clients from political and PR consulting that were still paying me to give them advice, and so I was able to funnel some of that money into it, but then we were also able to get contributions from various Austin people. We were fiscally sponsored by the Austin Film Society,
Nice.
and so that allows people to get a, and I highly recommend this for people, by the way, with short films or
Yeah.
films that they don't think necessarily will have a big commercial
Yeah.
upside, that you can become fiscally sponsored, and that gives you much more access to grants,
Mhm.
and also people can get a charitable donation, or
Mhm.
charitable tax benefit
Right,
from
right.
contributing to the
Right.
film. And so we were able to cobble together the money for that. And also, like Laura was saying, like, the great thing about documentaries is you can shoot them as you go.
Mhm.
And that's sort of the negative as well. Like sometimes they go on too long.
Right, right.
But if you compare it to a narrative film, I mean, you know, from the time someone has an idea, they don't have to write it. They have to get people attached to it or whatever. So I think sometimes documentaries get this rep as like taking a long time,
Mhm.
but any movie
Right.
takes a long time.
Exactly. But it's worth it, dude. It's worth it. It's worth
Yeah.
all the hard work. It's worth. I'm gonna pitch my. I've been in 158 films, either as a director, producer, or executive producer, director, or an actor, and 8 commercials, and I've done that in 13 years. So,
Nice.
I've done so many student films. I don't ever want to see another student again. But that's how you learn. You know, that's how you learn to do stuff. And then here we are now. So, ta-da! So, okay. So Tyrone's yelling in my ear. So we have to go. Okay. So we're gonna show you another clip, and then we're gonna do a Q&A with the panel. So this clip is gonna show. Okay, so this clip is kind of something that we put together because we really, really appreciate all the hard work that everybody that works here and works with us, Austin Film Society and Austin Public Access, all these people that are behind the scenes you never see. Well, you're about to see them now, and then I'll probably get. We're not going to show all of them, but we're going to show you a bunch of them, and I'll probably get sued. So here we go. Go ahead. right, kids, we're back. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so we are going to, we have some people that wanted to ask you guys some questions, and we have about 6 minutes to do this. So let's go ahead and, who wants to ask first? Are we ready? Go ahead.
I was curious about when you were looking at all these films, how did you choose which ones were going to end up in the films?
That's a really good question. I mean, I think there's certain fundamental films that just have to be in there. You know, you're not going to Dazed and Confused,
Yeah.
Slacker, Faculty, you know, Spy Kids.
Whole shooting
There-
match.
Yeah, Whole Shooting Match, Eggshells, Chainsaw, you know, that are like, what are the core movies of Austin? Death Proof, you know, Quentin Tarantino shooting that year, that have to be included in the film. And from there, so there's certain like ones, you know, they're important to the history of Austin and making it this place and documenting its essence. And then from there, it was really filling out particular vignettes or episodes. So we had an outline that had, you know, the development of Austin Studios or various things that
TV
happened in history.
movies, yeah.
TV movies. The TV movies is a particular interesting one because no one knew that those movies were shot in Austin, and it's the section of the movie that gets the most laughs. You know, especially Tornado, you know, which was a ripoff of Twister. But so the most, you know, the biggest thing is how many movies we left on the cutting room floor. You know, there's over 100 movies that show up in the film, and there's that many and more that aren't in the film. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, and there were also like what the interviews like what they bring up, you know, because we didn't have a narrator, and so it means that you have to rely on the interviews to really flesh out everything. And so if they don't talk about a certain movie, unless it's about the vignette, like the Austin Studios or filming outside of Austin in the little peripheral towns, you can't really have it. And so, but there were still like, you'd have your favorites that you'd watched that you'd like. For me, Blank Check, I was like, by God, if Blank Check is not in this movie. So we made sure that Blank Check was, so everybody had their kind of thing that they fought for also that's like, it's not really relevant to Austin history necessarily, but like, I love that movie. So Blank Check is going in there.
Yeah, the editing was great, how it like told the story from how the interviewer, you know, was, as the interview went on, and the editing just told the story. That was great.
Yeah, Laura Caldwell, who can't be here tonight because her band is playing. Well, actually, she's doing a solo show tonight.
Yeah. Nice.
But she's a great example of one of the themes of the movie is that the musicians and filmmakers, you know, in Austin are often one and the same.
Mm-hmm.
And she is that. But there are certain segments of the film that are hers. You know, the part where Future Kill, this crazy underground movie, interacts with Blood Simple, you know, which is Frances McDormand's, you know, first film, the Coen Brothers' first film. And the way that interacts, the first time she showed that to me, my jaw dropped. And she was actually, we had to fight her
to keep it
because she thought it was like too much or something after she created it. And so after that, my only thing was, well, now all the transitions have to be that cool.
Nice. I wanted to say something, Tyrone. Where am I? I'm here. Okay, Allison, where can people get your books, and which one should they get first?
Well, they might want to get Chainsaws first, especially people who are just moving here. I've heard it's recommended as a book, you know, to get a sense of, you know, the movie, how the movie scene took shape in Austin. But you can get them at Book People. You can get them at, you know, any of the bookstores basically in town.
Can you get them at the AFS Cinema?
Yes, you can.
Oh, nice,
Think.
nice. So
I
you get
think, maybe.
you get to
There
see.
you are on the show.
Yeah.
They're on display. I don't know if they
Yeah,
have
can you
extra
buy 'em?
copies to sell. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they will tomorrow.
Yeah, Mike
So-
assigned me when I first started. He was
Yeah.
like, "Read this book," and so I
Nice.
went and bought it. And it was
Nice.
great.
Yeah, and we were connected, Mike and I, early on. I think by Chale.
Yes,
I'm not
yeah,
sure, and
yeah.
just said, "Oh, you should meet because Mike's doing this film that's sort of a little bit like your book," and it was really fun to kind of watch the project take shape over the years.
Yeah, and we had a copy of the book in the editing office that was full of Post-it notes. from
Nice,
all of the,
nice.
like, oh, here's
See,
where to look up
Allison?
this stuff.
You
yeah.
see?
I mean, the book.
You see, kids?
I'm very grateful.
It can be done. It can be done. Don't let people tell you can't do it. Guys, I want to thank you guys for coming and sharing, with the kids out there, and I mean, it can be done. It's that simple. It can be done. Anything one man can do, another man can do. So it can be done.
Or a woman.
Yeah.
Or woman, yeah.
Or woman.
Or woman, of course, of course.
As my
So,
Python fans would
yeah.
say.
We'll see you next week, kids. We're out of here. Peace.
Hi-ho, what do you know?
All right.
The Big Daddy G Show. The Big Daddy G Show. The Big Daddy G Show. Hi-ho, what do you know? The Big Daddy G Show. The Big Daddy G Show. The Big Daddy G Show. Hi-ho, what do you know? The Big Daddy G Show. The Big Daddy G Show. The Big Daddy G Show.
Here's your daddy.